Hi, this is Marilyn Horn. I'm listening to Opera now, and I think this may be the greatest hour of my life.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Opera Now, the opera podcast. I'm your host as always, Michael Rice. Good to be with you all today on Wednesday, March the 3rd, 2021. Hope you've had a good last couple of 10 days, 2 weeks. I know I have. It's been fantastic. Not really. But I know who it's been quasi-fantastic for. That's my man in Chicago, the OC.
Excuse me while I make dinner out of this trail mix while we're recording the podcast.
It was trail mix, and I thought it was chips.
No, it's actually really good. It's from Trader Joe's. It's the Many Things snack mix, and it has like Chex Mix and honey roasted peanuts.
And in Boston, we've got Doug Dotson. Hello, Doug.
Hi. I promise we are not sponsored by Trader Joe's.
It's savory and sweet.
Wouldn't that be
like
lovely, however?
They don't sponsor anything, probably. They don't need to. Everybody comes to them.
They have their own podcast. I wonder who listens to that.
If I find out that Trader Joe's is sponsoring a different opera-themed podcast, I'm going to be so mad that we gave them that free advertising.
I'll look into it and bleep it out if I have to.
All of the misophones in the audience are loving the chewing.
Mm-hmm.
What's a misophone?
People who hate the sound of chewing.
Sorry. I'm almost done.
Good. Okay, good.
It's just so delicious. It's just so delicious. And I'm starving. I thought you were talking about like Jar Jar.
Misophone. Misophone? He'll get canceled soon, too. Just like Dr. Seuss.
Were you about to ask me?
Yeah,
Didn't he already get canceled?
I think so.
I actually do have erratum this time around.
All right, let's hear it.
But you're never wrong.
No, that's true. Kenneth Tarver, a black tenor who has recorded Don Ottavio twice, once with René Jacob and once with Theodor Korentzis. He also recorded Ferrando on the Korentzis Da Ponte cycle. And he recorded the pinnacle role of Arbace in Idomeneo, also with René Jacob. And he has plenty of oratorio recordings, Handelbach, and lots of Rossini and Berlioz. So, there are two black tenors who have recorded Mozart.
I thought your main point was low voices, though.
Well, not women, I meant to say.
Okay, that's true. Sorry, my cat's in here.
Well, that's good.
Tenors can sing low.
That's twice as many as we thought.
Yeah. A boon year for us. Or 2 weeks for us. I can hear myself. Can you guys hear yourselves?
I know. I can hear you through my earphones twice. So
I can only hear myself. I mean, I can only hear it normal.
Huh. I don't know what's going on.
I think it's the original sound. I'm going to turn mine off, see if that's better.
Okay.
Now you have to talk to prove it.
Hello.
Yeah, no, I still hear it.
Let me turn off mine. Hello.
That's
Still
worse.
hearing it. Ugh, what is going on here? Anyway.
Amateurs.
It may not be picking up on the recording, so we'll see. So first story we'll go with. Did somebody have something? Doug?
Nope.
You inhale dramatically, like a singing breath.
I always inhale dramatically.
Well,
anyway, shall we away?
The Glimmerglass Festival is to stage its operas outdoors this summer. With many arts organizations trying to determine when it will be safe to return to their theaters, the Glimmerglass Festival announced Monday that it would take advantage of its bucolic surroundings in upstate New York to build an outdoor stage so it can perform this summer for socially distanced audiences on its lawn. About 200 miles from New York and near Cooperstown, Connecticut, they were determined to make a comeback to Cooperstown, New York, determined to make a comeback this summer after the coronavirus canceled its 2020 season. So it moved performances out of its usual theater, the Alish Bush Opera Theater, to an outdoor stage and will divide its rolling lawns into socially distanced areas that can fit up to 4 people with chairs and blankets. Covered booze will also be offered that can fit up to 6. Those are going to be the boxes, I guess, the premium seats. So, that's good news. I mean, the funny thing is about this is that they can already open the walls at Glimmerglass. They go side, so it's open side to side, but even that's not enough, apparently, so they still got to be outside.
That's really funny, because that was what I thought. That's what I thought when we were talking about Santa Fe last time. I was like, isn't it already basically outside? Like, it's Santa Fe and Glimmerglass are probably 2 of the most well-ventilated opera venues in America. So it didn't occur to me that they would feel like they needed to do
Is Santa
more.
Fe doing something? Are they doing more? I don't know.
Didn't we talk about them last week? They were doing like an abbreviated last episode. They were doing like an abbreviated season. They announced their season, and I was just kind of like, I feel like they should be feeling more comfortable about this because they're
right.
outside.
I thought we were only talking about them because of David Lomelli.
Maybe in passing. I don't know.
I could be misremembering, but I feel like that was a thing. But anyway, I mean, like any ability to do stuff outside when it's safer is great.
Yeah, no, it's good news, and I've been up there as a young artist. Like, what are they called? Apprentices? Or I don't remember. And it's a great place. Not a lot to do around there, but it's they do a good season. So.
Yeah, didn't our friend Craig go down to see you when you were there?
He saw me. I don't know. Maybe he did.
He's not our friend anymore.
Not our friend anymore.
Yeah.
I know he saw
Racist.
something at MSM when I was in grad school, I think. Or wait, no, when I was he was in Berkeley when I went to Berkeley. Because he lives in San Francisco.
Well,
Craig Cruz Jr.
They're doing
RIP.
abbreviated versions of Il Trovatore, Magic Flute, and Offenbach's Songbird. Whoever calls it Songbird? That's ridiculous. It's Pericole. I wouldn't know it as Songbird.
Well, does that mean that they're doing it in English?
Who knows?
Because when I was in school and we were talking about how to put things on our resume, I was told if you did it in English,
Be specific.
write the title in English, and if you did it in the language, write the title in the language. So if you did Figaro in Italian, you write Nozze di Figaro, and if you did it in English, you write The Marriage of Figaro. Unfortunately, this advice said nothing about Carmen, which only has one title.
So you have to keep them
But
guessing.
anyway.
You show up for the first day of rehearsal. They don't know if you know it in English or you know it in French. I guess you could say you would say I did Carmen, or you could say I did Carmen. Then
Carmen. Are we doing Carmen? I thought we were doing Carmen. Oh, this is so embarrassing.
Silly old
Oh
boots.
God. Oof. Oof.
Good news certainly. In other news, James Dara has been named Long Beach Opera Artistic Director. In a year of uncertainty, Long Beach Opera has found the direction to go in. Yesterday, the company announced its new artistic leadership, James Dara. He's LBO's next artistic director. He also takes the title of Chief Creative Officer. His appointment beginning this month and going for now until 2024 follows a year-plus search at LBO for a new artistic director. Dara will be only the third AD in the company's 4-decade history, succeeding Andreas Mitisek, who joined LBO in 2003 and stepped down at the end of the 2020 season.
Okay, so did Yuval Sharon find out that I'm friends with Jenny Rivera and got scared and left? Is that what happened?
No, he was only going to be there temporarily. He was a
Interim?
interim, yeah.
Well, I am crazy about James Dara, and I'm so happy that Long Beach snagged him up. He is the director of the year, I think, of 2020. I don't know about 2021 yet. We haven't seen what he's done yet, but he was hired by everybody last year because of his unique skill set.
Yep, especially
And,
nowadays.
Yeah, exactly.
Very strong background in film production. So,
Mhm.
what
So
was
what
the thing he
happened-
did? Soldier Song he did with Boston.
No, with Philadelphia.
Philadelphia.
He also has done stuff with L. I mean, he's actually every single company that I know of has done something with him.
But it was a film that he did basically.
Yeah,
of the
but
cycle.
it was really interesting. Jonathan McCulloch, the star of it, had to film himself and direct himself. But it was James Darrow's concept, and like James Darrow like coached him on how to do it and whatnot.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful film. I don't know if you had a chance to see at least
I've
the
seen it,
trailer.
yeah.
It's
Mhm.
yeah. And that Jonathan McCulloch is a very good looking guy, but you wouldn't know it from Soldier Songs.
He dressed himself down for the.
Well, he
for
just
the
ate a lot
Soldier
of
Song.
bread, I think, for the role.
Okay. Like De Niro in Raging Bull.
Yeah. Yeah. I like
So,
all of those
very
guys.
very interesting guy. Jenny worked with him in Omaha.
The Agrippina, right?
Yeah, I don't.
Or was it another?
2012 maybe 2013. That's when she first. And when she went there, she's like, "This guy's like 5 years old. How that? I did it at Berlin." Then she's like, "Whoa, this guy's really good." So, good choice.
He's got great legs, by the way.
I didn't think he was that tall.
I know that's
he was,
not like
he was here
criteria, but
the other day, not in the house but outside, when they did the photo shoot for the.
we don't talk about men's legs enough.
Who's we?
I'm just saying in general, we don't talk about
I feel
men's
like
legs.
you and I, in particular, talk about men's legs far more often than perhaps the
Apparently, though,
average.
in this pandemic, I've been getting a lot of compliments on my legs because I'm biking every day.
You
Everyone's like,
are?
"Nice
Oh.
legs." Yeah, I never had that in my life before.
You got
so something's going-
catcalled?
What's that? Yeah,
You got
I've gotten
catcalled?
catcalled like 3 times.
And all
like
by
while
women?
All
on
by
your,
women. All by women.
while on your bike,
Well,
or
on my
just
bike
like
or just walking. I don't know.
Are you wearing like
Are
the
you-
short shorts or something? Or?
They're
I was
shorts,
just
but-
going to ask that.
I mean, they
They
probably-
come down like an inch below my balls.
Yeah, well, nice
they-
balls, they'd say.
Are they those like biking shorts that are really like spandex?
No, they're
with
not
the little-
compression shorts. No, they're shorts. They're like down, like just above my knee,
Okay.
something like that. I mean,
I
they
like
hike
those.
up probably.
I like those biking shorts a lot. I like them. Especially if you have enough
Why?
stuff to tuck in one direction, you know.
You got to decide early on what you're going to do.
Exactly.
Which way am I going to? Which way do you ride? Which direction do you ride, sir? What else? What else? How about Oliver? Take us to the Vienna Philharmonic statement in support of the
Okay.
Met musicians.
Let me just click on that. Phil.
This is so slick, highly polished.
You've never done this to me before. Okay, here it is. This is from the Violin Channel. So
I didn't want to take it
there
from
are-
Opera Wire. Everything's from Opera Wire.
Yeah, I know. So the chairman of the Vienna Philharmonic has written a letter, because we know how effective open letters are, in support of the Met musicians. Daniel Froschauer, who's a violinist and a member of the board of directors of Vienna Phil, is concerned. And he says the world is watching. 30% of the members of the Met Orchestra can no longer sustain a living in New York City due to being faced with no salary from the Met since April. The number is likely to climb higher as the crisis continues. The Met's global reputation and the cultural landscape of New York City would be devastated by the loss of artists of this caliber. The orchestra hosts some of the best players in the world. The members of the orchestra need more advocacy from their management and support from the government with a capital G. We don't do that here in the U.S., mister.
Frosh.
There should be more attention on this cultural devastation before it is too late. We, as colleagues and friends from the Vienna Philharmonic, hope that the Metropolitan Opera can find ways to adapt and include their house musicians in their programming efforts. Going forward, that's probably referring to the Anna Netrebko concert that did not include Met musicians.
Yeah. Well, they did it in where they could do it. That's why. But they
Yes.
called it the Met. That was the problem.
Yes. There's another orchestra that I think Munich also wrote an open letter.
Yeah, I mean, and Vienna Philharmonic is one of the most conservative organizations in the world. When you got them coming after you and saying, think about your people, that says something for sure. So
Are they like the cavalry, like in that scene in Game of Thrones when Jon Snow was about to lose it, and then
no,
who is it?
They're just a
the
conservative.
veil comes to
Well, they haven't saved
save
anything, so I'm just saying they're very conservative in their views.
It's
and-
like if the Veil sent an open letter
Yes.
to the Battle of the Bastards.
we firmly disagree with this engagement.
Please, Ramsey Bolton, please don't fight. It's like that.
Oh, poor Rickon. You got a zig in your zag, you know? He just went straight down the middle. He was going to die. Oh, what if this is like a spoiler for people? I'm sorry. Can you bleep all of that out?
Yes, of course. I will.
The show has been on for long enough. I feel like we don't have to worry about spoilers, but that's just me. I used to belong to a Star Trek themed Facebook group, and I said something that happened in season 6 of Deep Space Nine, which aired in like 1997. And literally someone was like, ugh, I'm not there yet. You should put a spoiler warning on this. And I literally, it was all I could do to not just be like, if you belong to a Star Trek Facebook group, you best have seen every episode of Star Trek. But I didn't because I'm kind.
Oh, we need more people like you who are kind and just take it on the chin, you know?
And because I haven't seen every episode of Star Trek.
Oh, okay.
The original series is just lore to me. Mm-hmm. It's the Silmarillion. Like, Don't read it, just refer to it.
In other opera news, trying to keep the show on point.
Star Trek is a space opera. Okay, go ahead.
But Opera San Antonio will be returning to the stage in May with a concert staging of Donizetti's Lucia. Too soon? What?
It's too soon.
In May? For a concert version? I don't know. Tickets go on sale. Well, you don't have to wear a mask in Texas anymore, so it's fine.
I know, exactly. Everybody's going to be sick by then.
Tickets go on sale today, slated for May 6th and 8th at the Tobin Center. First production since February of 2020, when they did the Capulets and the Montagues. The University of the Incarnate Word. Ooh, boy.
This is I have a paywall here, but I will say that I see Brenda Ray's picture, so I assume she's singing Lucia.
Lucia. Mm-hmm. Scott Quinn is Edgardo. Scott Hendricks is Enrico.
That's the Scots. But Brenda Ray is
What's a Scotch opera, so that's perfect.
I would go see Brenda Ray, but I would wear my mask just to be safe.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's a 90-minute running time with no intermission and a smaller orchestra than in the past. And a cast of just 7 singers.
You know, maybe this is anathema to say, but if we can start a tradition of doing 90 minutes, no intermission versions of operas, I would be so okay with that. Like, if that could, like, not necessarily all the time, but like, let's normalize that. Like, come on. It's fine, right?
You don't like the interval? And like
both of you are looking at me like this.
No, I'm looking at my screen.
So I'm
sorry. I don't care.
okay.
I agree with you. Short and out.
You have to describe the look for the podcast, Doug.
It was based. Oliver was literally looking at me like he wanted to reach through the screen and pull out my spine. And then he was like, well, what about the interval? One time I went to see Valkyrie at the Met, and the first intermission was 45 minutes, and everyone was at dinner because, like, I was new to the Met and I didn't know that was a thing. And I was literally like, I'm going to die here. I was walking around with my one glass of wine that I could afford, looking at, like, the art and looking at my watch, and I just thought, they're going to find my bleached bones.
That's why you got to go out into Lincoln Center and get a hot dog.
Oh, you mean literally? I was like, get on Grindr,
just like we did
see who's around
in the Opera Now in New York.
I know. In one bite,
just glomp it right
my
into
hair
my
loss
face.
was apparent all the way back then. I realize now.
You know, there was a story that I had, but I don't see it now. Did you the new Met ring cycle?
We talked about it already. Oh, we didn't.
No, we didn't.
Maybe
No.
I didn't think I moved it.
I don't see it.
But I have it. It's from ABC. It's the third.
Yeah, they're gonna.
I can take it.
Take it away.
So
take it away.
The Metropolitan Opera, it's a company in New York, is replacing Robert Lepage's controversial production of the Ring Cycle with a new staging, a co-production with ENO, directed by Richard Jones. So The Machine, which debuted in 2012-2013 season, was given 3 complete cycles in 2013 and 3 more in 2019, replacing the Otto Schenk version from the 1980s. So that lasted...
was all like cycloramas, right?
Yeah, that basically lasted for 2 runs. And remember, the first run was laden with lots of errors, lots of
the undulating
mistarts.
stairs or whatever.
Yeah.
Legs were severed. It was like an escalator that went wrong.
Yeah. And it was one of the most expensive things the Met had ever done.
They had, if you recall, they had to reinforce the stage
The floor, yeah.
to hold the weight of the machine. And it lasted less than 10 years. Congratulations, the Met.
How do you recycle something like that?
It's metal. So
Enthusiastically.
you throw it in your recycling bin. It's very easy.
It's going to be in the alley.
Yeah.
You recycle it enthusiastically and as soon as is possible, as far as I'm
In
concerned.
Chicago, the Mexicans would come pick it up and take it apart.
Kramer will see it in the alley. He'll pick it up and he'll stage it in his apartment, just like the Merv Griffin show. If anybody hasn't seen that, sorry. It's a spoiler alert. From Seinfeld.
I'll have to reinforce the floor.
No, it's a bit controversial, though they say that Jones Covent Garden Ring drew mixed responses for staging the giants Fafner and Fasselt, his Siamese twins, for Wotan's wife Fricka using a limousine, and for Brunhilde dressing in a cheerleader skirt. Although this will be a different production. He's doing this at ENO. And then, co-producing it with the Met. So we'll see what happens. It'll be a lot less flashy, says Bing, or Gib.
Yeah.
Gib. Gelb.
So he says,
I combined the
I'm
two.
very proud of it. I think it's been...
Very proud of it.
It's been
a lot of movie theaters.
Exactly, that it's been in the movie theaters. He's talking about Lepage.
I'm going to take it.
It had a major run. It won a major award. But I think the nature of the Ring is that it is something that should be re-explored every 15 or 20 years. He is every 10 or 15 or 20 years. And by the time we do this, it will have been more than 15 years since the Lepage was first premiered. So, sure. If you say so.
Okay.
Why can't
Great.
you just admit that it was a mistake? We want a new one.
Did you guys see? Did either of you see
that
it?
would have
Either
involved
the
them
movie or
doing it
in
10
person?
years ago.
I saw bits and pieces of it, but
I saw it in the movie theater.
You did? Okay. How was it?
I mean, not the whole thing. Oh, God, I'm not going to watch a whole Ring cycle.
Did you go to Rheingold then? I guess the shortest one.
He went to one act of Valkyria and
You
then
know-
died. His bones were just...
Oh,
Now
I'm
I'm
sorry.
actually no. That was the old. That was the
Yeah,
Shank. That was the
Shank.
Otto Shank production. I'm actually trying to think. Now that I think about it, I may not have actually seen a full production of one of the four. I think the most I saw was Rheingold with the rainbow bridge at the end and the upside and the body doubles. Like I definitely saw that scene. But now I'm not sure I actually saw all of it. So it was a great use of money.
I've never seen Go to Dameron.
One half of one show. Yeah, yeah.
I've seen them all besides that one.
We know how it ends. You know, they all die.
No, Frodo and Sam.
They go up to heaven.
Yeah, and they're locked in each other's legs. They have to scissor. They're scissoring each other.
Wrestling
Yeah,
with their hairy feet.
with exactly.
Nice feet.
Oh, stop.
Eagles ex machina.
Ryan Speedo Green named Artist in Residence of Texas Opera Alliance. Green will take the position beginning March 12th, and it will end with his performance at the end of the month. Wow, 1 month. Wasn't that much of a run. In Austin Opera's All-Star Concert. Green will participate in a variety of outreach and performance programs for the Alliance's 5 member companies: Austin Opera, Dallas Opera, Fort Worth Opera, Houston Grand Opera, and Opera San Antonio. The Alliance.
I'm crazy about Ryan Speedo Green. I love his story. I love his singing. He's a super nice guy. Why just a month?
Less than a month. The 12th through the end of March.
Maybe the Texas Opera Alliance said, "Oh shit, it's Black History Month. We got to do something really quick."
It's the wrong month, so.
Yeah.
Maybe they found out that people don't have to wear masks there anymore, and he was like, "Peace out.
Yeah.
I'm
3
leaving
weeks.
at the end of the month."
But I know he lives in like Vienna or somewhere in Germany. So is this all gonna be virtual? I guess it would be. I don't.
No, he'll be there. He'll be there.
With the master classes and whatnot, he will host a virtual welcome happy hour.
Oh.
Maybe he won't be there. I don't know. Well, he'll be there, I guess, at some point to do something. But He'll have the virtual happy
we'll
hour.
include classroom visits.
Okay, yeah.
He's going to visit
it'll be in person.
classrooms.
Mhm.
Oh, I'm so jealous of those kids.
Oh, he's doing a masterclass at the University of the Incarnate Word.
Is that a religious place?
Sounds like it to me.
Yeah.
You know, it's not religious.
Oh.
Oliver's Corner.
You know, part of his story is that he went to the Met with his high school.
Yeah, we all know that story. Get to the corner.
And he heard Denise Graves sing Carmen. And
Carmen or Carmen?
Carmen. It was the French version. And he saw a black person on stage that was in a starring role. And he's like, oh, there are black people here at the opera, or at least doing that, you know? And it was part of his journey, you know?
Yeah.
Wow, it's almost like representation is important and helps increase diversity. Who would have thought?
So maybe one of these incarnate word kids is going to be like, oh, there are low male voices singing Mozart roles.
There you have it.
Yeah,
there you have it.
That
Also,
don't
I
have the word
love
Jesus in him.
that he said, you know what's not religious? And Oliver was like, oh. So I'm hoping that this is a very Christ-centered
it isn't, but
corner.
I wanted to...
He wanted to tell his story, the story of Ryan Speedo Green. That's why, I think. He wanted to repeat the story of Ryan Speedo Green.
Well, so now that Black History Month is over, we can return to white excellence in Oliver's Corner. And I was just thinking, and I want to ask you guys if you can name any examples, but...
of the white person?
Excellence?
Yeah.
Yes. Me, Doug, my mother, Pavarotti. The list goes on and on.
As far as singers who and like I think maybe Doug might have a good answer for this, but there are singers who specialize in bel canto, and there are singers who specialize in Mozart. And you know, singers who sing Mozart, if they're bigger voiced singers, they can go into Strauss, and if they're lighter voiced singers, they can do things like Bach, maybe, and maybe even Handel. Not always. And then the ones who are bel canto specialists, if they have bigger voices, they can go into, you know, more romantic music, you know, Verdi, etc. Or they can go into Handel if their voices are lighter. But you rarely see the singer who is good at both singing Mozart and singing bel canto. Of course, there are exceptions, like Tatiana Troyanos, for example. But can you think of a singer who really was like, when you think about the voice, yeah, that's a Mozart Strauss singer, who also excelled in bel canto?
Gruberova?
I mean, Fleming comes to mind. Like her...
But the thing is, people didn't care for her bel canto. You know, like, yes, she did it, but it wasn't idiomatic. I remember she was booed at La Scala for her Lucrezia.
Well, who hasn't been booed at La Scala? That's a rite of passage. I would die to be booed at La Scala.
Well, I think you're right. Gruberova is a very special case. I think her voice doesn't sound... I mean, she does everything well, but you don't think of her voice as traditionally a bel canto sound. It's so, that's true. Like, you know, edgy, and it's not very warm. But, of course, she sang tons of it, and Donizetti especially.
So there you go. There's your answer. Next
Doug,
question.
Why do you think that is? What's the
difference between...
What are the factors that make somebody successful in Mozart that maybe makes them limited in singing bel canto?
I would actually present that differently, which is what are the similarities between Mozart and Strauss? Like, why do the good Mozart singers end up singing Strauss? And why do the good Rossini singers end up singing Verdi? And I think once you've figured that out, that's your answer of the difference.
Okay.
And I would say number one is breath control for Strauss and Mozart.
Okay.
I mean, I feel like that's the spinning a line, like, you know, and line is important in bel canto too, but bel canto is more about bel canto and Handel and Verdi, like early Verdi into late, you know, is all about flexibility and fioritura and that kind of thing, whereas Mozart and Strauss is more about breath.
Can I mention the possible elephant in the room?
Please.
Because
I am talking out of my ass.
The Germanic origins? The Germanic origins?
Germanic origins, yeah. That has something to do with it. So I think as Americans, we get taught how to do everything through a bel canto model. But in Europe, I think maybe in Germany especially, they don't learn bel canto technique. What's important in singing Mozart, and I would say also Bach, is being able to use your voice in an instrumental way. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't always mean singing with very Italianate vowels and having very even vibrato across your entire range. And like some of the great Mozart singers don't use bel canto technique. Sometimes they do a little bit more straight tone stuff, or more like, weird overtone things that you don't really hear in bel canto.
Well, and think about it. If you think about all those, the Walter Berries, his wife, the famous Nazi.
Crystal Ludwig?
Not Crystal. Oh, not Crystal Ludwig. She's not a Nazi. The other one, who's married to Walter Legge. Schwarzkopf. They're all German singers, and they all excelled at Mozart, and they also did Strauss.
Yeah.
And when you think about it, going back through music history, there's kind of always a pair. There's a quote unquote Italian and a quote unquote German in every era. It's like in the Baroque, you have how Handel approaches singers versus Bach. Mm-hmm. In the classical period, you have Mozart versus, say, like a Salieri.
And
later,
all the
you
other
have
Rococo composers we don't know about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like the bel canto is a very Italian focused, and then it's like you have Verdi versus Wagner. Like there's this north-south divide in how people approach writing for the voice.
Well, I will also say that singers who do the bel canto thing very well, i.e. sing across their entire range with great Italianate vowels, with even vibrato without changing the color of their voice or having to change the color of the voice, they cannot squeeze that technique into what Mozart asked them to do. And which is interesting when you see a singer like Diana Damrau, who was like a queen earlier in career doing Mozart and that type of highly technical, very, pitch precise, fioritura precise repertoire. Now that her voice is sort of, I don't want to say blossomed into warmer repertoire, into bigger repertoire. I would say maybe it was just, I don't want to say forced, that's not the right word, but sort of modulated into trying to sing bel canto. It's not as satisfying to me. I don't know if anybody agrees with me or disagrees with me. I still think she's a lovely artist. I think she's great on stage, but it's just somehow not as satisfying as when she was singing like pristine, clean, super accurate, that type of music. And I can think of other singers who I love, and I won't say their names here because I'll sound like a hypocrite, who were not great at trying to get their voice to fit into Mozart. And vice versa, Mozartian singers trying to do bel canto. For example, Lucia Popp, who I adore. She sings on this one recording, Norina in Don Pasquale. And it's weird. It's like, oh, yeah, I mean, I see it. There's like a character in her sound, like a brightness, like a charm that works for that character, but it doesn't ever feel Italianate when she sings. Anyway, I'm crazy about Lucia Popp. And right now I'm obsessed with a concert aria called A lo previdi, which is one of the, it's not lesser known. There's plenty of people have recorded it and performed it, and it has its following. But, when we think of the Mozart concert arias, the one that everybody wants to hear is Vorrei spiegarvi Odio with the oboe obbligato, with the high E's, and the Ch'io mi scorde di te with the big piano obbligato. But I love this aria, and the character is Andromeda, and Andromeda thinks that Perseus has died, And so she's like, the opening of the aria is like her shock and then her anger, etc. But then we get this last rondo, this cavatina at the end, which is her wanting to follow Perseus into the underworld. And she wants to join him before he crosses the river Leyte, which I guess is in Hades. And you hear the word Leyte in this aria a lot, but you also hear the word ombra a lot, which is shadow. And Mozart sets the word ombra in the lowest part of the singer's voice, and then he juxtaposes it with a note that's much higher. And I just love that little rhetorical device of like putting a word like shadow like in the chest voice. This also has an oboe obbligato, and I think that Mozart, we always affiliate the oboe with romantic music or with like romantic love. You think about how the oboe is used in Così fan tutte, and there are other examples. But I also think it's mean to always have these oboe obbligato parts because, what instrument is more in tune than the oboe? So if you have to sing with an oboe, you had better be in tune or you will look a fool. We were just going to hear the last 5 minutes of this aria. I love it so much, and I went on a rabbit hole, and I listened to every single recording and YouTube video. And Barbara Hendricks, by the way, still ranks very high in performance of this aria. But Lucia Pop on this recording is pretty pristine in her, well, I guess it's Slavic, but in her Germanic, precise, uber precise tuning with interesting frequencies that make the notes sound higher than they are, and a beautiful sense of the line, but not without portamento, but super legato at the same time. So this is the concluding aria from the concert aria Scena for Andromeda a lo previdi. Lucia Pop with the Mozarteum Orchestra Salzburg, conducted by Leopold Hager in Mozart's Crucial 272 concert aria Allo Previdi. We heard the last 5 minutes of it, the Cavatina de non barcar with the oboe obbligato. Mozart originally wrote that aria for Josepha Duszek, and then he had a crush on Aloysia Weber, and he sent it to her with a letter saying, or basically coaching her on how to sing it. I don't remember exactly what he said, but it's really cute. It's really clear that Mozart loved this aria so much, and he was sort of like giving Aloysia Weber like a mixtape, like, I wrote this aria, and like, this is how you should sing it. Do this and do this. Like, it's really great, And that's so sweet. We don't send people arias anymore when we're in love with them.
You don't send me arias. You don't sing me art songs.
Someone write me an aria.
Oliver's Corner. Couple quick stories to round things out. Cincinnati Opera will be leaving the music hall this summer for some fresh air. It's Back to the Future for Cincinnati Opera. No, they're not commissioning an opera based on Michael J. Fox's 1985 blockbuster movie. What they are doing, though,
Why
is
not, by the way?
Yes. I like how I know I'll make a joke and then I'll explain the joke. Yeah. This chump. What they're doing is moving the entire summer season outside, not unlike the opera's pre-music hall home at the Cincinnati Zoo. They last performed there in 1971. They don't know precisely where they will perform or what dates will be, or for that matter, what operas they'll produce. But in an era where things feel so uncertain, there was a great comfort in the announcement the opera made on Thursday. And they've got a picture of the old zoo, which is pretty cool. The old theater at the zoo below.
They used to do Aida with elephants there, didn't they? I feel like that's the story I've heard about this.
Well,
that they did it at the zoo, and they used the zoo elephants.
They may have. I know in Verona they do. They use like a huge parade of animals. But
so basically, the press release is just that we're going to do something. We don't know what yet,
or where.
But we're going to do something. So just keep your eyes out for us. That's our press
Meanwhile, I will be dreamcasting my production of the Back to the Future opera. Michael J. Fox is a pants roll.
Okay. Sung by?
I'm just putting that out there. Well, have you ever seen, I mean, obviously this is not possible anymore because she's dead, but have you ever seen Lorraine Hunt in the Peter Sellers, Julius Caesar?
Oh, okay.
Sesto. She looks like Michael J. Fox in that movie, in that video. So I guess I would resurrect her and make her sing Michael J. Fox.
The monkey's
Since
paw.
I'm dreamcasting.
And a quick follow-up to a story we had last time, I believe. Keith Urban has opened up about the recent incident in which his wife, National Treasure Nicole Kidman, was rudely swatted by a disgruntled opera patrons program. He revealed exactly what happened on that fateful night. We did not know you are not supposed to stand in the opera at the end of a performance. Having not been to the opera ever before in my life, I am sensitive to the etiquette. So we're sitting down with with Nick's mom, and we're clapping. It was a bloody great performance, so good, and I'm looking around, and we're cheering and cheering. Everyone's cheering. And then I look around, and I see a few people standing, and then a few more, and I went, oh, bloody hell. I'm getting up. So then I stood up, and this guy behind me just whacked Nick, like really hit her with the program. I mean, you want to be a man's man, but you can't throw a roundhouse kick and knock him out or anything like that. If you can't stand, you definitely can't do that. It took a lot of restraint. I was pretty upset. I just looked at him and said, it's a standing ovation. But at the same time, I get it. I get that this thing is going on where there's a traditional thing that says you don't do that, and I respect that.
There is no traditional thing that says you don't stand up if you want to. That's not a thing.
Who was that guy? Maybe they don't do it in Australia.
Maybe he just hated Nicole Kidman.
Yeah.
For doing that movie Prom.
Yeah.
Also, the first time when I read this article the first time, or not this one, but like about how that had happened, I had that sudden realization that it was like, oh shit, everything's normal there because they have the virus under control.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember reading this and they were like, well, we were at the opera, and I was like, like, you were? Oh, I forgot it's in Australia. Anyway.
I'm disappointed in Michael. You didn't do an Australian accent.
It was too long.
It's your chance.
I couldn't.
I love
do
your
that, I think.
accents.
We know you're supposed to stand at the opera at the end of a performance. No,
Also-
having not been to the opera before in my life, I'm sensitive to the etiquette.
Scottish now?
The etiquette. He loved Merry Widow, though. It was Merry Widow, and he loved it.
Oh,
I
don't
love that for them.
Is there an opportunity to stand in Merry Widow?
At the end.
Oh, okay.
It was at the end of the show.
Oh, yeah, we stand.
Yeah.
If it's good.
If it's good, we stand.
I think this was their first performance back, wasn't it, too?
I mean,
I think it was
maybe.
the first production, and so that's why everybody was standing. We're seeing something live
I want
again.
more details. I want to know where, in what part of the opera
was
they were
sitting.
standing. Was it
It was
after
at the end.
you-
It was at the end.
Where does it say it was the end?
We did
It's-
not know you're not supposed to stand at the end of an opera in a performance.
Oh,
Having not been to the opera before in my life, I'm sensitive to the etiquette.
that's not true. Who's
Yeah.
telling them this stuff? That's really
literally
easy to find out.
One
one
person
rude
who hates Nicole
asshole,
Kidman.
one person who hates Nicole Kidman. Some Scientologist was mad at Nicole Kidman and swatted her with the program. And he's like, "Oh my god, I had no idea there was a rule you can never stand at the end of an opera." Like, hun.
I said I didn't hear end because I didn't hear the accent. So. I could get the answer for the last one here.
Opera Busters. No answers this week, but
Can you review what it was?
sure.
Maybe
God.
someday.
These are the kind of flowers sold by the fancy boys at Covent Garden.
Doug, you said you knew
Rosa.
this one.
Rosa
It was
Ponce
Rosa
cells.
Poncel, yeah.
That's a Rosa Ponce cells. Rosa Poncel. Rosa Poncel. Cryptic.
Pons?
It's a cryptic clue, folks.
Oh!
Folks.
Pons cells. Rosa cells? What? Upon? Rosa upon cells?
Rose a Ponce cells.
A ponce?
A Ponce is a fancy guy. In England.
Oh, that's what I'm missing there. Okay. You would think I would know that word. You knew that word, Doug. A ponce? Well, you are a Jeopardy
No, I
champion,
just.
so-
Well, I actually didn't, but I just figured it out from the context
Okay.
because I knew it started with Rose and ended with Cell.
Okay. No new Opera Busters for next episode?
It seems like the appetite for it has gone down,
Oh,
given the fact that
also
there were no
com-
attempts.
the comments didn't happen this time around. I thought it was a good episode.
Yeah, no comments.
I'm disappointed.
Maybe we're, Oliver, maybe we're not the opera podcast anymore. Maybe it's Arias and Opera
it's,
Tonight or whatever.
No,
Night
it's that aria code with
That's long
what's her
gone.
name? Ran get it. No, it's back.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is she doing it again? The woman?
Yeah.
Oh, she's
Yeah.
great. I
Yeah,
love her.
Michael. Sometimes people bring back opera podcasts that have been long dead. I don't know if you knew that or
Are you telling
if
me
that's
an
a
opera
phenomenon.
podcast hosted by a black woman is beating us?
It is Women's History Month, so we'll give her this.
true.
Good for her.
She's on quite a run then. January, now February. This is her time.
Yeah.
If you have any time, go to our website, operanowpodcast.com. You can listen to the show
Leave a
live
comment.
there. Leave a comment, of course. You can listen to the old shows in the upper left portion. It says archive, really old shows. We go back to 2006, I think, October 2006.
Yeah.
So
Been around. And it's only our 10th episode.
yeah. Anyway, Oliver, you got anything going on you want to plug? How's your new radio show going?
It's going well. I'm doing an all Callus show.
Is it going better than this show?
Saturday.
You get any emails for your Opera Busters?
I get. I should bring Opera Busters too.
Please bring Opera Busters to the station. In the Renaissance, all those women in Barrington would be like, Renee Fleming! Renee Fleming!
I do have at least one crossover audience member from Opera Now and Opera Box Score and Listening to Singers. You know who it is. I won't say who it is.
Your biggest fan.
Yeah.
Doug, anything for you?
Yeah.
Any
So
virtual concerts?
I do. My virtual look at the 24 Italian songs and arias, Art Restored, is available on Skylark Plus. We don't do all 24. We do like 10, but it's all with period instruments, original arrangements, or at least the best version of an original arrangement I could come up with. So check that out, skylarkensemble.org. Subscribe to Skylark Plus. You can hear Art Restored and also my Purcell recital from earlier this digital season. And that's all because I started a non-musical temp job that I'm doing for the next 6 months, which has been a godsend.
You're going to get me some sweet books, right?
Ooh, can it be revealed?
I
Should I bleep that out?
No, we can say that it's a company where I could maybe get free books. It's the same place
you've
I
worked
worked
there
before.
Same place you worked
Yeah,
before.
it's the same place I worked before.
The first time, but now they decided to hire you.
Yeah, exactly. I'm temping for someone who is on maternity leave, and they were like, we would really love to not have to train someone who has no idea what this even is remotely.
Well,
and
call
so,
Doug Dotson.
Anyway.
All right. Well,
Exactly.
everybody, thanks for listening to this episode. Go
on.
ahead, Oliver.
Close it up.
Close it up. Thanks for listening to Opera Now. What's the show called?
Opera Now.
Opera Aria Code.com.
We didn't finish casting Back to the Future the opera. So
Maybe we'll do that
play?
in the post.
Okay.
Yeah, that can be post show.
Then wrap it up.
You've been listening to Opera Now. Post show.
So, in my wildest, pulling from any period and style, whatever, I would want Sam Raimi as Doc Brown.
Okay.
Just because he got that lion's mane, looks
but is it gonna
like
be
just
white, you know?
It will be white. And let's see who else is in that movie. Biff would be like there's some himbo baritone, and then the dad would be a tenor. George McFly would be definitely is the tenor role. Marty is a mezzo pants role. The mom, Leah Thompson, is a soubrette.
Would you try to work some of Huey Lewis's score into the opera?
Would I? Well, yes. Would the person who was actually a composer? Probably not. But I certainly would. There's got to be 50s elements. Wouldn't it be funny if all of the 50s music from when they go back in time, suddenly all of the
Early music?
Soundtrack was like 50s like classical music. So it was all like Britain, like 12-tone stuff.
It's a pretty deep dive you're going down, Doug.
But remember that one time we covered that story about like slowing down a Britney Spears song and it suddenly became like an aria? So we just slow down all of the Huey Lewis and it'll feel operatic.
But like honestly, if you can do an opera of The Fly, which has been done, you can do an opera of Back to the Future. Like, you can do a
that's
cycle.
all the proof I need.
The Back to the Future cycle. If we can do a Ring cycle, we can do a Back to the Future cycle.
There's 3 films.